Okay, guys, please bear with me because this story is actually going on right now as I speak. This is out of Gaithersburg, Maryland. It happened on March 21st, 2017. Whatever led up to this, it ended fatally. This was not your average sibling argument, or at least it didn't end that way. She had no remorse, none at all. She told her mother and her aunt that she was blunt, she was stern, and she said, "I had it done. You know how Christian is. He wasn't going to stop." Her mother was hoping that she was setting her son up for a fight, which is bad itself, but if you have to choose between the two of your son getting beaten up or your son getting murdered by your daughter, I guess you would pick a fight. And I know that she was hoping that the person responsible for the death was not her daughter. The police were called and more arrests would be made. And thank goodness her mother, and I know it probably felt like a nightmare to have to turn in her own daughter. Christian Matthews would join his mother and his sister less than 1 year prior to his murder in Silver Spring. He would attend public school. He struggled academically and sometimes behaviorally. But he was a kid. He was only 17. I mean, remember when you were 17? You were learning and growing, and sometimes we forget that. Christian, he was learning and growing too. Everyone who knew Christian, from his adoring friends, to the church that he attended, to his neighbor that he befriended, they said that he was a compassionate guy, humorous, with a big smile. Kevin Jones is the 37-year-old next-door neighbor. He had lost his 6-month-old daughter, who suffocated in a tragic way. He said Christian came over a lot. Christian told him that he admired him as a father, and Christian played with his sons, ages 2 and 4, whether it was drawing or reading to them, or even just watching them. He trusted Christian. He said he helped them get through this family's loss. Jones would see a lot, but he didn't see that there was a conspiracy to kill Christian. He knew that Christian didn't really like the father of his niece, who was still dating his sister, and Christian is a few years younger than his sisters, and we know how sometimes brothers can be a little bit overbearing when it comes to their sister dating. They can be. And vice versa. Sisters can be even a little bit overbearing when it comes to not liking who their brother is involved with. But who would have thought that it was going to get this bad? March 21st, around 2:25 a.m., police arrived to the townhouse on 1021 Mondrian Terrace. One of his sisters, LeMay, would call the police. When they arrived, she told them that she heard a commotion coming from the basement. When the police entered the room, Christian was in there. He was lying on an air mattress and unresponsive. He had suspicious marks around his neck. It looked like the room had been a little ransacked, and he was taken to a nearby hospital where he was pronounced dead. The chief medical examiner said Christian's death was a homicide, which opened a death investigation. And during that investigation, detective learned that Christian did not like his sister's boyfriend, Tyshawn Lipford, who was brought in for questioning. Tyshawn would tell police he overheard Christian stating on the phone that he had planned to kill him and his family. Tyshawn had to protect himself, his girlfriend, and his daughter. He told police that he went into Christian's room and put him into a chokehold while he slept and then left the residence. We would later find out that Christian's sister LeMay waited until Christian fell asleep and alerted the others. They needed for this to be a surprise attack because they knew that Christian would fight back. Leandra would drive and pick up her boyfriend along with his friend Daniel Howard, whose nickname is Ghost. She supplied gloves to help commit this crime, and Ghost would help holding Christian down and watching him be strangled to death by Tyshawn. Leandra would then drive them back to where she picked them up from after the deed was done. Leandra would later say that Christian threatened her and her child, and she was also pregnant. I guess she felt that she was protecting herself by whatever it was that Christian had told her. Now, please understand, all of this was after the fact. Tyshawn was arrested and charged in the death of Christian in 2019. A jury found him guilty of second-degree murder, and Tyshawn Lipford, at 26 years old, was sentenced to 30 years, with continuous investigation through text messages between the sisters and Tyshawn. Tyshawn actually had wanted to kill Christian earlier that day. But Leandra texted, "Y'all idea is not a good idea. Trust me. I'm not going to let y'all do it if y'all don't do it how I said, because it's a bunch of stuff y'all ain't thinking about." She basically told them to do it later on in the night because fewer people would be around. It's dark, less eyes. She told them to also break a window and to ransack the room, make it look like a robbery. And she would leave the door unlocked and use the gloves, which she did. It would be 4 years later that the twins and Ghost would be arrested and charged. Leandra Matthews, she was sentenced to 30 years, all but 25 years suspended, 5 years on probation upon release. Ghost, aka Daniel Howard, was scheduled to be sentenced April 2024, which was then changed to July. Now today is July 31st, so something should be done soon about Ghost's sentencing. He faces up to 10 years if he's found guilty, followed by LeMay's sentence. Now, she pled guilty to murder after the fact. She knew what was going on. Now, COVID is still here, backups in the court system, so I will definitely be looking out for sentencing dates of Ghost, aka Daniel Howard, and the other sister, LeMay Matthews. Now, Leandra is appealing her sentence. Her attorney said a lot of things hadn't been said in court. Now, she claims Christian had been SAing her for years, and also her young daughter. And this was PTSD, equivalent to battered spouse syndrome. She was acting in self-defense. She claims Christian and an unnamed stepbrother was going to her and her daughter. But the jury never heard that. I mean, again, it is so much going on in this tragic case. I don't believe the mother had a clue of what was going on in her own home. Her daughter basically told her that this was not going to be a fight because Christian was going to fight back. She felt that he had to be killed. But why? Why did she feel the need that her brother had to be killed? The only thing that we know is her brother just didn't like her current boyfriend. If what was going on with Leandra was really true, and I'm not saying it wasn't, but if it was, why didn't she tell anyone prior to this, like her mother, or maybe even her twin sister? Or how about her boyfriend, who she should be extremely close with? I mean, they have a baby and a baby on the way at this point, and they plotted a whole murder together. Why didn't you tell your boyfriend that you were being SA'd by your own brother? Because he did not say this is why he went after Christian. He did not say that at all. Not at all. This was all said after the fact from Leandra. when they all find out that the best years of their life are going to be served in prison, then the narrative of this story is changed just slightly. Do you believe that this was just a last-ditch effort for freedom? Or do you believe that Leandre and her daughter was violated by Christian? If the appeal process goes through and she is granted another trial, they are going to find the daughter. She's going to be spoken to about what happened. They're going to probably do physical tests on her to see if she was assaulted. There's a lot of things that they're going to do to make sure that Leandre's claims are right. Because if this is made up, then what she's putting her daughter through is horrible. What she's continuously putting her mother through is horrible. And her deceased brother is horrible. Yeah, you can love your brother so much, but you can love your boyfriend even more. And you don't like the fact that your boyfriend is being talked about so badly by your brother. Or the fact that your brother might even beat up your boyfriend, even though your brother is younger than your boyfriend as well. You might not like that. So you might plot to end his life. Horrible for me to say that, but it happens. You might. That's the only other way if Christian Matthews did not essay his sister and niece. My condolences to the mother and everyone who loved and cared for Christian. Very sad story that, again, is still continuing. It's still continuing. And I'm going to definitely find out the sentences of the final two. And if, in fact, the sister, Leandre, will get another appeal going. So just bear with me.